Podcast.
Say that again.
Hey. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Momcult Podcast with the Joy Todd and Sarah Helen Parker Massey. It is May, and we thought it would be a good idea to have our mothers on this month. So first up is my mama, Miss Christine Elizabeth Wise. Welcome, Mom.
Thank you, Joy, for having me. And you guys can all call me Risty, because that's what I'm known as to my friends and family.
Risty.
Yeah.
Risty.
Joy, you can call me Mom. And
Okay.
Sarah, you call me Risty.
Okay.
Misty Risty.
Yes, ma'am.
There you go.
I call her Risty Business.
Oh, that's way better. What is a Misty Risty?
Something
that implies
stupid.
you cry a lot.
Misty Wrist. Again,
Risty Business.
I would have liked to have been more prepared, and in my mind, I really wanted to come up with some really epic questions to ask you that would be like, as if this were my only chance to find out the answers to some questions. But
It is.
I didn't.
Joy.
This is it.
This is what you get.
I got to tell you this. Every time Joy and I try to talk, we're on FaceTime with Penny.
Oh, yeah.
We talk every day, but we really don't know
No.
each other.
Right.
And we don't know what's happening in each other's lives because Penny gets up in her face into the FaceTime and starts rattling away.
We're just
She
yelling.
will not let her mom or I talk. So we have to wait till she goes to bed or she's in school, and then we can visit and find out what
Yeah.
each other's up to.
Well, and then also, like most of the time that I am seeing you, you're there so that I can leave.
Yes.
Right, that's
We're passing in the
exactly-
night. Passing in the day, passing in the night. Yeah.
I'm familiar with that experience.
Hand off the babies.
Yep. All right, I'm going to read your bio. So, buckle up. Born to Bill and Betty Heimerman in Syracuse, New York in 1953, Risty grew up in a small fishing village outside of town with her sister and 4 brothers, which involved all kinds of singing and playing cards mostly. As a family, they would go to the rescue mission often and sing for their church services. And when she graduated high school, she went off to college in Texas, where she met my dad the very first week of school. They immediately fell in love, married in 1973. He was a band director and she was a stay-at-home mom. Jenny was born in 1975, Jerry in 77, and last but not least, me in 1984. Her and Dad built a company together from when I was born to 2003. They started out with inspirational products and ended up with creating the Beginner's Bible, which is a children's picture Bible for 3 to 5-year-olds. In 1988, it became the best-selling children's Bible of all time and still is to this day. In 1991, all 5 of us moved to Nashville, and as the company grew, Mom was able to back away from work and focus more on the kids. Her kids have always been her number one priority, and she wouldn't change a thing. 6 grandchildren later, you can find her living with her husband in Franklin, Tennessee, doing arts and crafts, decorating, cooking, especially baking, singing, and making pottery. Please welcome Risty.
Thank you so much, Joy. That was really good. I can go home now.
And we're done.
Joy brought to you by this lady.
That's right.
You got pregnant with Jenny in college, right?
I had
Or
left
no, you weren't.
college.
You went to what? Did you do a couple years?
I went through my junior year.
Okay.
And Dad graduated, and I got to hood him, but I was pregnant with Jenny when I hooded him. So, yeah.
What's that?
When you put the hood on somebody that graduates.
Like the hat?
No, it's a hood on the outfit.
Back in the days, it was a hood,
Bachelor of Music Education.
Cool.
Yeah.
like a hood that's attached to the gown.
I've seen when they have the hood.
So. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he was hooded. I hooded him.
Hot.
Sounds sexual.
Yeah. Oh, saucy.
He is hooded for
I
life.
hooded him immediately.
Exactly, but we were married.
Ned, how old were you when you got married again?
I was 20 and he was 21.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Had
right.
a wonderful little wedding up in upstate New York. So he painted enough houses down in Miami where he was from. He's like, I got to get up there to get married.
Why-
So we
how
went
did-
around and tried to find paint jobs, and he made enough money to come up and get married to me. Those were the 70s.
Yeah.
You know, you just lived.
Saving up painting.
Oh, yeah. Lived on a string, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like these days painting houses, it's like a...
They still do it sometimes.
We do.
Because
we still
they
paint.
make good money. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's a better gig now. Maybe still as difficult.
It's just hard physically.
Yeah,
it's
a lot. Crazy.
Yeah.
At my age, it's a little harder, but
Yeah.
But yeah, we enjoy painting.
Yeah.
We've painted a lot of houses.
Let me be clear, I can't even paint like one wall. So I wasn't being like it's easy.
Give us a call.
Give us a call. We'll paint your wall.
The Whistling Painters.
Do you remember, I know it was so long ago, so I don't know what things you've blocked.
You're challenging me now.
Right, and what things that really you don't remember being an issue, but did you know anybody else that was pregnant outside of, maybe Aunt Janet, a couple years behind you, but...
Yeah, I would say when I was pregnant and staying at home and having babies, having toddlers, my street was empty of moms. Mm-hmm. So there was a big push for young mothers working then. Mm. So I didn't have a lot of people to talk to on my street. Most of them were working. So.
And at that time, is this the time? I'm pulling things from different parts of your life that I feel like I know about. But was this the time where you lived kind of out in the country? That later?
It was probably more San Antonio. The kids were about 2. Let's see, Jerry was 2 when we moved to San Antonio, and Jenny was 4. And we lived there about 11 years. But we did do a stint in the country.
Were you thinking that you wanted to be working?
Not really. It was a full-time job for me to be watching the kids.
100%.
My husband and I have always worked together. Mm-hmm. So even if I was home raising the kids, I was always working on something. Mm-hmm. So when we started our fundraising company in '82, we were in San Antonio, and he would go out on the road and go to all of the high schools and all of the middle schools, all of the elementary schools in San Antonio. And he would start fundraising projects with them. So I'm at home with 2 toddlers, and we're wrapping up baggies of first day fair share prizes with popcorn and candy in them, so that when he'd get they'd call it a start back then, but it was a fundraising, liftoff, talking to all the kids, getting them all pumped up to raise money for something. Then he would, come back. He'd say, I need my treats, I had this many kids that got first day fair share. They each get one of these. So that was back in the day when you could, bring popcorn, hand it out.
Right, yeah. True.
So, yeah, we had a really interesting time and fun company doing that.
Did that feel like an outlet for you aside from like something that isn't with the kids, or did it feel like another thing on your plate? Or
no, I think
both?
it was a good outlet because, back in high school, I remember thinking I didn't have a real interest in having kids or having a family. I was just thinking, I want to go for it, do some kind of business venture, very business-minded. Mm-hmm. Or teaching was another thing I thought about. But yeah, helping build the businesses was an outlet for me in that area.
Yeah, you used a different part of your brain. Mm-hmm. Did you want? Was it more of like you weren't on birth control? Were you on birth control? Like, were you guys actively trying to get pregnant that soon, or was it like, all right, I guess we're starting?
It was. We married at 20, and I think by 21 I was ready to start a family. Yeah, so pretty early on.
Yeah.
And then Jenny was born when I was 22.
Were all your births pretty? I know mine was, I'm like the third by a long time, and I just slid on out. But did you have any traumatic experiences during pregnancy or in birth with Jenny?
Pregnancies were all pretty simple and smooth. I just wasn't looking forward to the end game. I wish somebody told me how painful it was.
Did you do no drugs with?
Well,
all of
the
us?
first time was a caudal with Jenny, and it was like this injection into the cervix alone, and some Demerol. But yet they still put me out.
Oh, like Twilight?
Yeah, I still did not see her be born.
Oh wow! I don't think I
never
knew
heard
that.
of that.
And then Jerry, his was more. I'm trying to think. I would say his was the Demerol, but then again they put me out. So back then they would put you out a lot, just straight out.
Just instead of like
I know
an epidural,
right?
Like that was just like,
Right.
oh, this is just so you won't feel anything.
Yeah, a local, and then once you've felt all the pain, knock you out, so you don't get to be there for the best part.
That's wild.
It's very weird.
Was that like pushed on you? Did you feel like that was
I
like
think it was the only option. I felt like back then.
they wouldn't even let you go natural if you wanted to?
I don't think that was happening then.
Jeez.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Do you have any knowledge
Of course, I was so
like-
young. I didn't
Right.
know what I was
but
doing.
still, it feels
whatever.
like it's just somebody taking advantage of your naivety about
Vulnerability,
yeah, but also whatever.
Well, they did have to give me Pitocin to get him kicking, and then he got halfway in the canal, and the contractions stopped totally. So the doctor sent your dad out to the waiting room.
I'm sure he
And then
loved that.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
So much anxiety.
And so a couple minutes later, whatever, he came out and got him.
Yeah.
But I was out by then, so they put me out.
Oh, I was going to ask, does your body just keep doing what it does?
I don't know.
we still
Don't know.
we still don't know how Jenny or Jerry were
was
born.
Yeah. But Joy, I had an epidural, so that
Okay.
was wonderful. Yeah. So
Were you-
by the 80s, they're like, oh, we can do epidurals now.
Yeah.
And you not feel the pain.
Did you get, I'll leave it alone, but just one more. Were you in that moment bummed to not have seen them be born? Or did you
Not
not? Like, 'cause you
really. I didn't know
different?
any different. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That was just kind of the way it was done.
Yeah, okay.
But it was neat once I got to see Joy born.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you're
I mean,
welcome.
I was on the table. I felt so good. I had my husband hand me the camera, and I'm taking pictures of him holding the baby. You know, I'm like, click, click, click.
I wish that had been your first catty corner.
Oh,
Catty
yeah.
corner
Joy
picture.
gets on my case for tilting all
She
my
always
pictures.
tilts the iPad.
Mom, you're getting artsy again. Why is this picture tilted? I'm like, I don't know. It just looks better.
I do see that, and actually, I'm not mad at it.
She started it. You know what Mom also started was abbreviating every word that you could come up with. And now that's like been the thing for a long time.
I'm
and it's
talking about-
really funny.
45 years ago, I was shortening words.
Some examples, please.
Cairo for sure.
Presh. Oh, that was
not precious.
so
pressure.
presh.
Oh, precious.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, I was thinking
precious.
pressure.
Fresh.
Oh, how presh.
I thought I started that.
I'm glad we could clear that up today.
Subconsciously, you were around then. Anyway, all my kids would make fun of me. I shortened everything.
Menopause, meno.
Because as moms, we don't have time.
No, yeah. It
I
makes,
think that
now that
was,
I'm older, it makes
it was
sense.
a waste of time to finish that
Yeah.
word out.
Or you could only get half of it out before you got cut off by a child.
Yeah,
So
that's
you
right.
just gave up.
That's right. That's right. Oh, Don used to get so mad at me when I'd shorten words. You kids too. Mom, stop shortening the words. So now all of a sudden I'm seeing everybody shorten them going, yeah, I was ahead of my time.
There you were. A risky business.
That's right. I'm not going to live that one down, Joy.
I have noticed your voice before, but I think people are gonna like your voice. Like when you say presh, like my S is kind of whatever. I'm not gonna beat myself up, but I like your voice.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Was it the SH part of it?
yeah,
Fresh.
yeah.
Okay.
Something about the way your mouth.
Hang it on a little bit there at the end.
Or any other high points about words that you abbreviated? I'm sorry for focusing on that.
Yeah, I probably should have written them all
I know.
down.
Anything you can think
Sibs, of course. You know, siblings were sibs. Of
course.
But the abbreviations.
Anything you could shorten.
Yeah.
I shortened.
I think our annoyance growing up with her with that was that it would be like words that don't even need to be abbreviated or just words that you.
Well, like dishwasher. I'd say, Joy, would you put the dishes in the DW? I think that's probably almost as many syllables as dishwasher. It just felt good.
Yeah, you're owning. You own that. I feel that. I do.
I appreciate it now that I'm a mom. I get it. You have always kind of vaguely talked about the dark ages being at home with all of us kids. Do you remember some day-to-day things, or does it all just feel like a blur that you're just glad is over?
I remember I had a hard time with you guys as infants. It's like I wasn't wired for the patience of that.
Yeah.
And not being able to communicate. And for example, you would scream really loud, to high-pitched, very high-pitched scream, very memorable. So once you guys could talk and we could do things together, I enjoyed that more. But the baby years were very hard. But I think that as far as the day-to-day, it was pretty much what you guys are experiencing now, The kids are your first priority, and they demand it. It's not like you can even get up and make a choice. What do I want to do today? Or what do I want to do right now? You're living in the moment, and so the needs are there, and you just go, But I remember a friend telling me, she said, now, Chris, don't get stressed. When you have bad days, she said, look at being a mother as an 18-year hobby. And I thought, that wasn't a bad way of looking at it, to just, because sometimes you're not sure when you're going through it day to day, you're not sure if you can get through the next day, as you all know, right? All the young mothers out there, and especially single moms, you all are my heroes, just so you know, because it feels like it takes two to get all the jobs done. So yeah, I would say the hardest part of the days for me was maybe 4-ish all the way to bedtime. It felt like everything, caved in then. It's time to start thinking about dinner. It's time to get bathed. It's time to, I've got this assignment due tomorrow. Sometimes it'd be the next morning. I need some cupcakes for school.
Right.
But those evening hours seemed to be the hardest, I think.
Yeah.
Were you doing most of that? Was he out, like, working still because of the travel and stuff?
Yes, he was mostly out on the road doing something. He was, or at an office, yeah. So I was there pretty much 100% of the time. And he would he'd come home evenings, and I see the families now. I think it's neat that the dads can work from home, and there's a lot more help they can offer, and trading off. And I see dads rolling their kids around in strollers, and it just didn't see that much back then. It was kind of mostly the mom's, job to be the caregiver of the kids and the dad to make the money. So.
Did you, just how life is, similar to like giving birth, being like, well, there weren't really any other options. I didn't even know I could think differently about this. Were you just kind of along for the ride, or did you have moments of being like, this is not fair?
I think all of us as moms feel that unfairness. And I think it has to do with the fact that most men, it feels like they can come and go. And there's some freedom there. Now, I might be wrong. I might be judging it wrong.
Sarah's shaking her head.
You guys are looking at me shaking your head. No, Risty, you are on it. Keep going. Something in us, as being the mom, caregiver, we can't walk away.
No, not without
Not without somebody set
a diaper
up,
bag
or there is somebody coming to the house, and their job is to take over what I was doing and do exactly what I was doing.
Right.
So, yeah, I think you do feel that, and you can build up resentment, because of that. Well, I can't get away.
Is that one specific period, or just whenever the kids were little, like you were saying, or was it when you were in San Antonio mostly and y'all were in a rural area and there weren't any moms to interact with? I just wanted clarity on that.
Yeah, probably when we went away for about 1.5 years to kind of a farm area, 12 acres. And so I felt a little isolated there, yeah.
That makes sense.
And I was homeschooling the kids too, so.
Gross.
So yeah, they were, I was on.
And no car.
And no car, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was used as the
days would run into the nights. And we had a horse, and he just had one eye.
Charlie.
So we called him Charlie, the one-eyed horse. And I just remember standing there at the kitchen window, washing the dishes, and his little stable was out right in my view, of course. He was always standing in the direction where the no eye was facing me. And I can just remember, washing dishes, and I'm like going, would you just get out of here? The horse. I can't stand this horse. So I told my husband, I said, we need to lose Charlie, the one-eyed horse.
We need some glue.
Yeah, something needs to happen here, because, this shouldn't have stressed me out, but it does.
But this is a trigger for me.
Yes.
Were you having to, take care of him also during the day? Or was it
No, they pretty much take care of themselves. But it was funny because, I had to get hay on top of my Subaru and put a big old thing.
Yeah, that's already like, yeah, no thank you.
But Jenny was probably, I guess she was 11 when we moved out there, and Charlie would knock Jenny off every time. The trees were low in Texas. She'd get on the horse and start riding, and Charlie would go right for a branch.
Just on purpose to knock her off.
And push her off. She'd get up crying, get back on, pushed into the branch. She'd, come in crying. Mom, Charlie knocked me off.
Did he come with the house?
That's it. No.
That's it. We're getting rid of this horse.
That's it. He's out of here. He did not come with the horse. But we did have a dog named Precious that Jerry named, of course.
Presh.
I shortened it for Presh. We could go away for 2 weeks, and I'd leave food for the neighbors to feed him because he was an outdoor dog. He ran those 12 acres. He loved it. We'd come home, and there was 26 armadillo shells laying on the ground. And the kid goes, he didn't eat his food. And I'm like,
Armadillos.
What happened here?
A massacre.
What happened?
Are you being literal to 26?
Yes, we counted them all.
Okay.
We were gone 14 days, so that was
Holy
2
moly.
armadillo a day. And he had mimicked the sound of them and could, like a mating call them out of the hole and then grab their tail, shake them, and bite underneath them, under the shell, and then eat their meat, the flesh.
My dad will be impressed with that. What kind of dog?
Well,
What breed is this?
he was a mixed. So,
Wow.
Probably had some, he was black. It looked like he had some maybe lab in him, but he was short. So he was a mix of something, maybe a terrier lab mix. I don't know.
Okay.
And then he got hit by a car.
Yeah. So
Dark ages.
that's
Dark ages.
the story of Presh.
You were very creative and like very expressive with your creativity. Were you able to do that in those times or when they were little, or did you find time for that? Did you ever?
I did. I gave all my kids piano lessons. We were homeschooling at the time, so there were other kids that in our group, so that my kids weren't like, by themselves. They had
Other
friends.
homeschool friends.
And I didn't like the hard subjects like science,
Math.
reading. And so I had this, one of the ladies was a reading specialist in our group, and I'm like, yes. And I think a history major or something like that. And I was like, dude, you do that with my kids?
I
will do arts and crafts and music all day, every day. So I would keep a log of, it was back 40 some years ago, so it was new then. And I wasn't sure if somebody was going to check them on me, so I kept really good records of what we did every day, what time we did everything. Field trips, usually after lunch was, because they could get finished up in their schoolwork in the morning, and then in the afternoons was more arts and crafts, music lessons, stuff like that.
What the other moms that you were teaching homeschooling with, did you relate to them? Were y'all able to vent? Did that happen? Was that frowned upon?
We had great time with each other. Doing group things together, So, but when your kids are the focus, everybody's just kind of focusing on the kids.
Yeah.
So you're not really thinking too much about yourself,
Yeah.
But we went through a stage of trying to eat healthy. We were making our own bread. I would get the grains, order the grains, and then I had a pulverizer, whatever you call it. The grains all mixed up and make honey wheat bread from scratch. So that was fun.
Before you and Aunt Janet were living in the same place enough to hang out together consistently, who was your first mom friend? Or did you have a main other mom that you met along any point along the line?
Yeah, I always had friends that had kids my age going along. And I remember Jenny was a year old. We had her first birthday, and her friend was Jonathan. We invited him to the birthday party. I was so proud because I made a holly hobby cake for Jenny. I hooked up with her later, maybe 10 years later.
What was her name?
Sarah.
Sarah.
And I go, how you doing? And she goes, really good. I got 5 kids now. And I remembered when she had Jonathan, we would talk about birth control, just kind of going, well, what are you going to use, whatever. She goes, well, we're not going to use birth control. I just don't feel peace about it. I'm like, okay. Yeah. And so then here it is 5 kids later, and they are just like one after the other stair steps, and they're all got red hair. They're all crawling all over. So
What a nightmare.
so I go. So I look at her. I go. So, how you feeling about birth control? She goes, oh, I feel peace. I feel peace. I go, good. But I think when along those lines, you have to have other women you can talk to and through these times, just so you feel like you're not the only one going through it, because it can feel very isolated.
That has not changed.
Not since the beginning of time. I just know women are a gift, though. They're a gift to the world. They really are.
Aren't we?
There's something special about us. I'm amazed at what I've been watching. Like, I don't even know what documentaries or what shows about, but just women pulling something out of themselves that, let's just take Erin Brockovich, for example, you know, or, I watched that one. The lady that was the head of the cartel in Miami.
Griselda?
I watched that. And I'm watching this stuff she's pulling out of herself. But anyway, just what women can do.
The resilience.
There's a lot of power that we women have that I don't think we know we have.
Yeah. Agree.
You know, to use for good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying not to get like political, and I don't even know enough about, whatever. But like the keeping down of women, for lack of a better phrasing, to prevent us knowing our power in some way, or
Yes.
because we, you know, like matriarchal societies where it's like I don't know. I want more information on that, because I've got this whole storyline in my head, but I need so I'll just bookmark that.
But the older that I've gotten, and especially after having kids, and yeah, I will feel that in a way that I haven't ever really felt or thought about that before. But as I'm trying to, you know, push myself or get more confidence in myself or all these things, and I'm like, why am I having to work at this? Like, why isn't this just already here? And why do I feel like, it seems like there have definitely been some things put in place over the years where it does feel like that's been intentional. And not that I have, like, obviously I'm not researching that and having all these things in history of this happened and then this happened and whatever, but
I don't have citations for it.
Yeah, but I do. That's like a newer thing that I feel like I've had a different perspective on than I did when I was younger and growing up. And also, I think just going through pregnancy and motherhood and the fact that we can grow and create life, like just going like, why is this not like venerated on some pedestal that we're like, this is like a insane superpower that these people have.
Yes, I feel like we have magical powers as women, because there's things in there that you don't even know are there till it's called upon for you to need them. Then you reach way down deep and whoa, there it is, something from nothing that you didn't even know was there. And I've also found that every decade of my life I've embraced, you know, instead of going, oh man, I'm going to turn 50 or I'm going to turn 40, whatever, and be depressed about it, I go, all right, I'm ready. Let's go. What's this decade got for
learn
me?
More each
Because I'm
time.
more comfortable with myself as a person each decade. You know, you're in your 20s, teens struggling, 20s struggling, 30s focuses on kids, not thinking about yourself. 40s feels like the same thing. Parents start going south. You know, there's some challenges with every decade.
Right.
But because of everything you've learned, you're bringing that now into the next decade. And so I embrace it, and it makes it easier. You're not fighting it, you know. You're going, yes, I'm smarter, I'm wiser, I'm more beautiful.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. I'm excited about aging.
That's right. Yes.
I mean, we're so powerful. Apparently we can do birth unconscious. Just
apparently there's a miracle that happened there. I think
they come right out.
That's right.
I did have a question about when you're watching your kids as young adults, like watching your kids going through something really hard and finding your place in that and your role in that and how you grieve that. And then also what it was like in my example, when you kind of watch your kid not pursuing something that you feel like, I think this is their thing, but I just got to let them figure it out, get there on their own.
It is. It's a struggle, but I actually think it's my favorite part of motherhood has been, you do all this work when they're little. You're going, okay, is this going to pay off? Just like building a business or whatever. We were doing them both at the same time. And so Don and I would look at each other and go, okay, we are doing the hardest thing ever, raising a family and building a business at the same time. And they're long term. It's not an overnight thing. It's a boom, here's a 20-year part of my life. But I'm enjoying this the most because this is when payback happens. When you have adult children, everything you've poured into them comes back to you and more. And you don't know what that's going to look like, whether it be a struggle or watching someone do something that they didn't even know was in them, And so I live my lives through you guys, still, because you're part of me, always will.
Looking at the car wash. Honk, beep, beep, look at the car wash, yeah. Did you know that Sarah and I both work at a car wash? Isn't that exciting? And also so odd. And it's called Camel Express Car Wash, and it's an incredible company, and they're making some changes to their
offerings, and our top wash will include this thing that's called graphene. And these are real facts, okay, about graphene that I know just an inordinate amount about. It won a Nobel Prize. It's thinner than an atom, and it adheres. It's used for all kinds of crazy things, and it's like a wax coating. And it can adhere to all the surfaces of your cars in a way that like wax has never been able to before. It's incredibly thin, but also incredibly strong. So it protects and repels water, and it makes your car look like brighter and shinier than like it even does regularly. Mm-hmm. It's like really interesting, cool stuff. So that is the top wash. You can visit Camel Express Car Wash and get a free The Best Wash by texting code Momcult to 30400, and you can try that new product, graphene, today.
Dad's always been the more opinionated parent, like the one that might like say the thing, or like, I think you should be doing this, or I think, whatever. Do you feel like you naturally took on more of like the not hands off, but we're just going to see how this all plays out? Do you think that's always been your personality, or do you think that's kind of how you and Dad balanced each other?
Yeah, I think it's more of my personality because I was that way growing up. One of the things you'd said something about, asked me about guilt, mom guilt, and it was funny because when I read the question, I was like, I don't feel that, I never have. Which was like, that's weird. I know. I was fascinated with myself when I...
You mean about motherhood specifically?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I tried to dig down in that a little bit to go, wait a second, why didn't I feel that? And I think if I go back to my growing up years, and this sort of answers your question there too, but my growing up years, my parents always treated us like adults. It was weird when we were little. They would talk to us like adults, and they had a very laid-back way of raising us. Now, not in the day-to-day and the perfectionism and, doing everything you can do, to be the best you can be. But as far as, I was never put on a guilt trip in my whole life growing up. So I didn't even know what one was like. So I think I carried that on into my own life. As a mother, just kind of sit back and wait and see what happens. Give it some time, let it simmer. Try not to overreact.
Yeah.
I think too. I thought about people say, if you could go back, would you change anything about the way you raised your kids? And I thought probably wouldn't, because I am who I am, and I was back then who I am. So. I probably would make the same decisions about my kids and for my kids and for my family, And then you just go, I did the best I could. Not going to help me to feel guilty about anything. Just move on, Yeah. The decision you made became the right decision just because it happened and it's done, and now move on. So.
Yeah. Is there anything you wish Grandma would have imparted on you about having children, or do you feel like you kind of got to see enough of like the chaos to know what to expect?
A lot of moms back then talked about it. Now, it just might have been my family. There might have been a lot more moms that were communicative, but she didn't talk about pregnancy, pain, menopause, raising kids. Really, I didn't cook much either growing up. She was the kitchen cook, and then we cleaned up. My sister and I were the cleaner-uppers. So what I didn't know about menopause is that it kind of just keeps going. So I still, at 71, I struggle with hot flashes still. So that doesn't feel fair.
I think I like maybe had my first one like a couple weeks ago. I don't know what it's like, but I had like this big cramp, and then this like just like wave of like my face got crazy hot. Mm-hmm. I was like, looked at myself in the mirror, my face was red, and I was so weird because I had been so cold before. I was about to go do an audition, and I was freezing in the basement, and like purposely put on a sweater for this audition, getting set up, and then got like a big, I didn't know at the time, I was like, is this just like a gas pain or cramp? And then I was texting Jeremy, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, like I am on fire. Yeah. And then just like, whew, it just went away.
Yeah.
And my whole body temperature went back to normal, and I texted him, and I was like,
what just happened?
I don't know what just happened, but like maybe I just had a weird hot flash. I had no idea.
Entering menopause.
Perimenopause, Mom. Perimenopause.
Sorry, we'll do the peri. Gotta get the first steps there.
When did that start for you? Isn't that early?
Let's see.
I know it's different for everybody, they say.
You know what? I do remember. Yeah, that you're peri because you're turning 40 this summer.
40,
That's okay for me to say.
It's just
so
the truth.
Proud. All my kids in July, all three of my kids will be in their 40s.
That's
so
wild.
Never thought that would be, but
what do you think?
Well, you just don't think of yourself
just never
as a
thought
mother of 40-year-olds.
I didn't think they'd make it this far.
Wouldn't that be hard for you guys to imagine right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I tend to think about
everything,
every scenario
all at once.
So
I think for me, menopause was, at 50, I was on full blown.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I can't sleep. I mean, my brain is gone. I mean, it was like weird feelings, you know. And I told my sister, I said, I think I'm going to get on some hormone replacement therapy. And she's like, oh, don't do it. You know, she's the naturalist of the family. Mm-hmm. She goes, you'll get cancer, breast cancer. And I'm like, I'm ready to take my risk at this point. Okay. So I said, okay, Jan, I got to do it. I said, I haven't slept in 2 years, and so I've got to do something. So I think from 50 to 52, I wasn't sleeping. And then I broke down and went in for the HRT. And I said, just give me something light, give me something to get through. I mean, to tell you, I thought a miracle had happened to my body. It was the weirdest thing. So I just did it for 2 years. And I thought, well, let me get over the hump.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And it did. So, I'm not recommending anything to anybody. I'm just letting you know what worked for me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that try to do things naturally and do the creams or this or that, which is what direction my sister went more in. And I'm like, no, just give me the pill. Come on, bring it on. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what did you do the pellet or the?
It was a circle pills kind of.
You swallowed it.
Kind of like birth control pills.
Okay.
In a thing where you could keep track of the days. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that you did pottery. What do you do? One of our questions is what keeps you afloat, rejuvenates you, feels well. Do you find that you do more creative stuff now?
I have to do something creative. Oh, I go crazy if I don't. Mm-hmm. But I like spending time with the grandkids and helping out my girls when I can. I do have to do crafts, and I help Don a lot in his art. We have an art company called JDWiseArt.com. He's a painter of musical instruments, but they have a funky twist to him. So he's from Miami, mid-century, so they have this little, flair to him.
Colorful.
Yeah. So I help him a lot with that. And then, pottery. I did that for about 1.5 years. I get a kick out of myself because these women are so focused and they're doing so good, and they just have the gift. Perfect thing forms on the wheel. I'm watching it, and I'm like, dang, how does she do that? And when I go up to the shelving to find what has just been fired, to see how mine turned out, I go, okay, Chris, look for the one that was made by a middle schooler or an elementary school kid. That's probably a your piece, because everybody's is perfect. And then there's mine that's like, no two pieces are alike. It's real creative, but I do have fun doing that. And then singing. I love to sing, and I write some poetry once in a while. So I brought a piece.
You brought a poem.
Hear it,
Yes.
I do.
Please.
The history on this one is my mom was in a car wreck when she was 16, and she was thrown out of the right side. The train hit the left side. Her brother was killed immediately. His girlfriend was killed immediately, and she was thrown out the other window and had a scar on her nose and ran to the nearest. It was about 1:30 in the morning, rainy night, to the nearest farmhouse to get help.
On the way home from a dance.
On the way home from a dance. But the history, I need to give a little bit about her so you'll understand the poem. But when she was 8 and her sister were 13, they also lost another sibling, and he was a baby, and he got sick, and so she and Aunt Margie were laying in the bed, and all of a sudden they saw an angel at the window holding a baby. It was this form, and they woke him up from a dead sleep, and they looked at each other and said, did you see that? Do you see that? And then it disappeared, and they knew then that their baby brother wasn't going to come home, that he'd gone to heaven. So I have to give you that part of the history so you'll understand why I wrote what I wrote. Let's see, this was for Mother's Day about 25 years ago.
Did you write this for Grandma?
I did. I wrote it for her birthday, and my dad had a picture of the car, and he said, let me superimpose that on the back, and I'll put your poem above it. So that's what was left of the car. So I'm not real good at expressing myself. It seems like most of my poetry comes out of someone's loss. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how to express myself to them. So the only way I can do it is I sit down and I go, let me just write my feelings, So this I gave her because she was still feeling the guilt from that night. She had asked her brother to take her to the dance. He didn't want to, but he did. And so she always felt the guilt from losing both of them, him and his girlfriend. They were getting ready to get married. It was his fiance. So anyway, it's called Through a Glass Darkly. A blustery rainy night, a dimly lit road, a dance she'd just been to. Only God knew what was in store and what was beyond her view. A thundering train full of steam ahead took no thought of the lives it stole, and the memory that one little girl would carry and how it would take its toll. But God saw fit to spare her life through a guardian angel's hand. Maybe the same one that visited her one night as a child at the window she did stand. Or maybe it was an angel she had never met, one that was strong enough to catch her fall, one that was gentle enough to whisper in her ear, don't be afraid, on your life there is a call. This young girl would grow up someday and give all the glory to God, for he had planted his seed of faith in her tender heart's fertile sod. For she saw through a glass darkly on that blustery rainy night. But as God unfolded his plan to her, clearer became her sight. We are just vessels put here on this earth for a vapor of time to exist, but by his grace he allows us to be used, and in his plans we can assist. Thank you, God, from my mom, December 1999.
I love that.
Had you never seen it?
Beautiful. I think I've heard it before, but maybe a long time ago.
Probably only 15 when I wrote it.
What occurs to me is you mentioned not having mom guilt, or you have a really healthy view of guilt in general. I don't think I've heard that once in all the people that we've talked to ever.
No.
And I certainly don't feel that myself. And I wonder if, because that's a massive, that I understand how that could be a massive source of guilt, and maybe she went out of her way to be sure that you understood how to process that and not carry guilt.
That could be true, because she did carry a lot of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe she carried it for us kids. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
What a mom. Yeah. That's sweet. Anyway, I thought I just wanted to honor her a little bit,
yeah,
too.
Of course.
For Mother's Day.
Mother's Day.
Joy's grandma, Penny and Ava's great-grandma.
What was her name?
Elizabeth Ellen Heimerman. Her maiden name was Darling.
I know.
Joy goes, I love that name. I want to name a child.
Yes, somebody's
I
kid
wanted to
needs
use
to
it
be
somehow,
that.
but I just couldn't. Maybe my girls can use it if they want, if they can, because it doesn't necessarily work as a middle name to me, but it's ideally like the last name is what
That was ideal.
I love so much about it.
I have an idea for it, but I'm not going to share it here so none of you can steal it.
All right, we'll just let you have that
Leeches.
name, okay?
But I'll tell y'all when we're done.
It'll be a gift from my mom to you, Sarah.
I do feel like, I don't know if this was the same for you, just because obviously Grandma had a different time and different experience mothering than you did. I definitely felt closer to you after having Ava, but there's something about after having Penny that it really felt like our relationship got more grounded or more consistent or more, I don't know what adjectives you would use. But my need for you since Penny's been born has definitely been stronger than at any other point in my life. And when I think about how much I still need you, I get overwhelmed thinking like, oh my gosh, my kids are going to keep needing something from me that I am going to have a hard time constantly providing. Does it feel easy to you because you're in the grandparent zone?
Yep.
And like, do you
Totally
feel like
different.
our relationship has changed since Penny? And I don't know.
Being a grandparent is so much more fun than being a parent because you are so on with being a parent and having to make the right decisions all the time. You know, just that pressure of like, and the needs that are there. It's unending. So being a grandparent, it's like, oh, I get to choose what to do with my time and what to do, you know, when to do. And so I think our relationship grew deeper because of your need for me, which that's a need in me to feel needed.
Right.
You know,
It's like
it may not be everybody, but that
the love
really
languages
fulfills
kind
me.
of align.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe for a lot of women and their moms when they've got little ones,
Yeah.
it's like, I'm
mom
appreciating my mom in a way that I never understood before. And then my mom is super happy because I'm like reaching out and needing her.
Yep.
Well, that's good to know that I won't.
Yes.
That I'll be like happy to
You
do
will be
it.
happy. You will be happy to do it. Your mom will say the same thing, Sarah.
Oh, I know. I'm trying not to cry just thinking about it.
Go on.
No, just how
Just like the
involved she
needing.
is.
Oh, yeah.
How much you need her. And
Yeah, and how I understand things that I never understood, and particularly, I don't want to do this that whole day. I'm like already
That's
every
right.
time
Yeah,
I
get
think
it
about
out now.
I'm sorry. When we interview her, I mean,
Yeah.
but the do I have to keep going?
No.
it's just a precious thing.
It is.
Are you going to have any more kiddos?
We are in that process. Either we're gonna get on the horse or get off. Like now.
I took a meal to my niece, Kathy, which you've had on your show, Kathy and Sarah.
The twins.
Kathy was the surrogate for Sarah's baby. And she's had her own now.
Yeah.
She's had her third. So I went over there to take them a meal, and wow, you just forget how little they really were. Anyway, she liked me. I had a very colorful outfit on, and she was
Into it.
crying for her mom. And in her mom's arms, she was crying and fussy and tired. And I said, "Can I hold her?" And she said, "Sure." So I put her right here. Major black, red blocks, teal, bright colors were right there. Immediately she stopped crying. She just stared at my outfit. She goes, "Aunt Risty, can I have that blouse?"
Could you just
Sure,
leave
let me
that
take it
blouse
off
here?
now because
Yes,
I've got a
yes.
double layer, so it would work.
And you would, I'm sure. Give the shirt off your back.
I would.
Especially for a fellow struggling mom.
Yeah. No, I do. You were asking me what things, I do to stay, positive. And that's one of them. I found out both my husband and I, man, if we're just internal and doing things for us and doing the business and this and that, we start getting on each other's nerves. And it's like, as soon as somebody needs us or we go somewhere and we start talking to people, it's like,
Better if
that
my
was
version of
fun.
myself just popped
I
out.
just liked what I saw. Yeah. So there's something in us that we we both just like to give of ourselves, and then that floats our boat.
What's hard for you in this phase?
Let's see. I would say being 71, my biggest struggle right now is just the aging process and my body starting to wig out on me. Mm-hmm. So I have some back trouble and some arthritis and stuff like that. And so that kind of slows me down. And I was like, I can't do what I used to do as fast as I used to do it. And I was always on the go. And so now I'll do something for 10 minutes, like, oh, my back's aching, I need to sit down. And then still trying to build a business at this age in our lives, all the same, trying to apply the same principles we did.
Still hustling.
With publishing and move it into art. It's like, oh, how does that work? But so hustle. Mm-hmm. That's hard to do on a consistent basis, So,
is there anything with it, like being a mom, that's the hardest right now?
No, I enjoy that the best.
Yeah.
Of all the ages that my kids have been, this is the best because they're adults. I get Mother's Day cards that aren't just a little stick figure anymore. It's like these deep emotions.
$20 in there now.
There may not be money, but there is deep thought and love and appreciation that comes back to you that you guys can't see that now. You don't even know if that's going to happen because it's not a reality.
Yeah.
So it's neat when it happens,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I said on one of the episodes, on our Christmas check-in episode that we did this year, I told Sarah about the angry Christmas card that I wrote you.
I almost brought it. No, but for real, it's most of them. I mean, I save them all because they're just all so great.
I think
makes all the work worth it,
I think I just live with this, I will never be able to fully express my appreciation for you, but also I don't need to, I guess. Is that the thing? It's you already know. Yeah. You know, because you already did it.
Oh, yeah. And I love helping you guys out when you had your babies, spending that first week with the girls, with every baby. Mm-hmm. It's pretty special for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, I've been through this. My mom did this for me. I know what to do. I got this.
Right. I actually know how to help.
I know how to help. Yeah.
We're going to speak the same language for a certain amount of time.
I will say when Jenny was born and I was 21 years old holding a newborn, gorgeous as she was, I was in shock because I knew what had just happened to me was monumental. Mm-hmm. And it was overwhelming. It was like, I am never going to be an unmother.
Right.
Ever. Till the day I die. That was really, really a hard pill to swallow, not knowing what that meant, I didn't know what the path was going to look like. None of us do, But looking back, it's a pretty special gift.
Yeah.
Very, very special gift.
Was Grandma, was she what you needed in those times? Was she?
Yeah, she was great. There? She was, she was always cooking, cleaning. She was on top of things, So that was great.
Are you guys hungry?
Yeah.
I am.
It's lunchtime.
Yeah.
Do you have any ideas?
I'm thinking about some bagels, some schmears, maybe some pasta.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about Mr. Aaron's Goods.
Yes. Locally owned, family, lovely, all very involved, and everything is fresh and good and wonderful and incredibly quick to prepare meals that you can pick up in East Nashville at TKO. It's MRAARONSGOODS.com, and you can use code MOMCULT for 20% off your order at MrAaronsGoods.com. So check them out. MrAaronsGoods.com.
Give us one of your favorite kid stories, and then we can do some pop culture corner.
Well, your classic when you were second grade, learning to turn your manuscript into it's coming together in cursive, and you're just like, it happened one day. You're just all of a sudden the letters come together,
the calligraphy's
and it
connecting.
goes from manuscript to calligraphy, and you're like running into the room like, Mom. And I thought she was going to say, I can write cursive now. And she goes, Mom, I can write my name in vain. And we just started laughing. Like, oh, Joy, that is the cutest thing we've ever heard.
It still makes sense in my brain.
It does make sense. It was so sweet. That was so cute, but yeah.
We didn't do like any type of check-in. How was your week today, Sarah?
I don't know if we have time. Truly. Do you have time? Do you have to go? Because we're over time, but
No, I just had my meeting with you.
Okay. I can do it quickly. At work, in this leadership development thing, that's a long-ish process. Not really, but it's pretty cool. I like it. It's like therapy, but for work, sort of, and it's been helpful in a lot of ways. In this leadership thing for work, I've been working on, we culled down to one thing that I needed to work on, and it's confidence. And so I've been working on that in various ways. Well, the other day, and that's something that we notice in Parker too, that he struggles with confidence or, needing outside affirmation in a way that, can feel difficult for him. And so we've been working on that with him too. Well, Friday when I was picking him up from school, I mentioned something to his teacher and she was like, hey, has he mentioned XYZ? And it was like, basically, he's seeking outside affirmation from a kid that was like being unkind, but then like circling back to want that affirmation again. And I have this process, and I noticed it this time, or where I go, I hear it. I hear that part. It takes me, an indeterminate amount of time to get into absolute full internal panic. Mm-hmm. And I'm like in like a triggered moment, and I like am gathering information. So I get through that part, not terribly much externally. That doesn't matter. Okay, it might have been a little external. Might have taken it out on Eric. Anyway, but I did this course over the weekend, a workshop on confidence. Dr. Becky offered. I just did a search on confidence, and she was the first thing that came up. And it was very helpful. But what was crazy was I feel like my parents really did a lot to try to instill confidence in me. They are very confident people, both of them. My siblings are confident. I don't know exactly. I don't need to, what it is that I like miss some chip. But doing this workshop, I was like, oh, I don't even think I've ever really understood what confidence is. Like she defines it. It's like 50 minutes, whatever. And I just wanted to say, here's the high points. It was feelings talk, like affirming that you feel what you feel just internally. And like, instead of I should feel this way or I should feel that way. Most generous interpretation, like interpreting whatever your kid is doing in the most generous way possible. It's pretty obvious, benefit of the doubt. And inside stuff versus outside stuff, like these are affirming things that are inherent within you versus outside stuff. And I always forget the fourth one. My point is, I think that this is a big deal, not just for Parker, because this is just like a little blip for him. I think he's got a lot of the pieces of being confident and probably just, needs some affirmation and certain different, I don't know. What I will say is I've been doing these little tools for like 24 hours and it already is like happening, whatever like magic little thing happens. Mm-hmm. And then he like gets it. And there's a song about boundaries and he gets that. It's like something really micro. Yeah. But in my case, it is a big deal.
Macro for you.
Yeah. It just feels like a very big piece that I've been missing because there's just a lot of negative self-talk that just happens without me even like processing it, or like not processing it, even recognizing that it's happening. And part of what this lady was explaining for like 2 to 6 year olds, was, and I was like, shit, this is blowing my mind. And she acknowledged that a lot of people will feel that way. It's a big deal. So you guys just get ready. So I'm about to be
2024.
So confident.
Year of Sarah's confidence.
So it's really neat. And that is always the case. Whatever he's struggling with, usually will point out something in myself, and then I work through the thing, and I'm in a very big feeling moment. Mm-hmm. Feelings. There you go. That's it. That's my check-in.
Well, congratulations. And yeah, that's awesome. Like, it's nice when it comes from something like work, where it's like, oh, I wasn't necessarily seeking this out or asking for this, but this is something that's been on the list of things in my life that I would like to be able to work on. So to have something kind of push you in that direction. And now you've got some tools. Mm-hmm. Mine is similar. I mean, like, finding that confidence, because I feel like it's taken me a long time to do that too. My check-in is that I can officially say I'm making a short film that I wrote and that I'm going to act in, and that it's about motherhood, obviously, because it's the only thing I know. And finally did like my first public post about raising money for it, and that's uncomfortable, and also posting about it just meaning that, like, I'm putting something out there that has to have my own backing behind it, and that feels scary and uncomfortable. And yeah, just practicing believing in myself and being like, at the end of the day, you have to be the one that thinks this is a good enough idea to, like, make happen. Like, I've had people holding my hands every step of the way, but at some point I have to, not need that as much. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, is every day getting one step closer to being like, okay, all right, I'm excited about this project, and maybe other people will be too. And yeah, if any listeners feel like contributing to the making of the short film, we're going to be taking money all the way up to like mid to end July when we're planning on shooting it. So you can go to my Instagram at Tiffica if you want any more information on how to contribute to that. Mama, pop culture.
When you told me you were going to talk about pop culture, I said, there's not a lot of pop in my culture anymore at my age, so I don't know.
You had a lot of.
I did. I got to look them up here, what I said.
I think Sarah's got it.
Might be different
off
today.
Well, no, I was looking. I printed like everything but that. But I can say that you mentioned Kennedy, and I've not seen that. But what is that? I mean, I know I'm guessing it's about just, Kennedy's.
It's about conspiracy theory of who really shot him. Because it's just something. I'm in 6th grade. He's shot. The whole world is watching the TV. Very traumatic for all of us, and memorable. It just stays with you for your life. So all those interest me, hearing what different people say about it, and when we'll know the truth someday, I don't know.
Have you watched The Octopus?
It's not The Octopus Teacher.
No, this is like a conspiracy theory thing, and that's part of it.
Yes. And
I had never seen that
That
before.
might be the one that I just watched.
Okay, where they're saying it's the driver?
Where they showed
you
the
just
film
show a video
of the tree that's not all there, that was photoshopped, and the guy that photoshopped it.
And their thing is that it was just the driver turned around. And then, like, in the video, you go back and nothing happens, but there's like a glitch in the back of the screen or something. I don't know.
Interesting.
I'd never even heard that theory that it was the driver of the car.
Yeah.
Would that mean that Jackie saw it? Like, knew?
I don't know. Unless she was
turned.
They're waving at people. Not looking.
She would never.
With her pillbox hat. But yeah, it's all fascinating when it's stuff about that to me.
Yeah, because you do you remember it pretty vividly?
Yep. Everybody does that lived through it.
Were you in the middle of a school day?
About as much as the Beatles coming to the United States. You put those two on the same level, and they happened pretty close in time.
Yeah. Were you just in the middle of class?
We were all in school.
Did they roll in
They did roll in the TVs.
And what was the other show that you suggested to her? What did you?
Oh,
you said,
Somebody Feed Phil.
What's that?
You've never seen Somebody Feed Phil?
Oh, I think I've maybe seen like the header thing, but I've never watched it.
Everybody Loves Raymond. He
Yeah,
was
the writer.
Producer and writer of that.
Oh.
And he just travels the world and eats at the finest
He's
restaurants
just like
in the world.
so
Cool.
jolly and funny, and he's fun to watch. He just gets so excited.
And you could be a kid and watch it too. It's all ages.
Yeah,
It's
we
great.
used to watch with Ava.
Love it.
Do you have a favorite country that he went to?
I'll tell you what, the one that surprised me the most is Croatia, and it made me want to go there.
Oh,
Pulling the fish right out of the water, cooking them up right there on the shore.
Wow.
Best
Yeah.
food ever.
yeah. She grew up doing a lot of fishing.
So yeah, I love decorating shows too, and house hunting.
Oh, have y'all?
All across the sea and the land.
Have you seen? There's a new show on Amazon that I haven't watched yet, but it's a kid, please,
A kid guy.
a guy, very cute guy from The Bachelor, named Tyler Cameron. Who it's like, I don't know, he's redecorating houses, but he's so sweet. That's worth a look.
Okay.
I have not
Here.
seen that one.
Well, she loves
Good
decorating
guy,
houses.
good guy,
Amazon
good
Prime.
looking,
Okay.
doing a good job
Good,
down in
good,
Florida.
Oh, the lottery. I like that.
The
With
lottery.
David. Yeah, when the people win the lottery.
What? There's
can't
just a show called The Lottery?
Well, it's dealing with buying houses.
Oh.
The guy from Trading Space is David. I can't remember his last name.
Clips from Trading Spaces have started resurfacing on, on the socials. And
That's why I first started watching.
I know,
them.
we watched it together. We would go from like a baby story, wedding story to a baby story to Trading Spaces.
Yes.
Like had our TLC, all the
yeah.
TLC shows that we were watching for a period of time.
In high school?
This was like between high school, early college. Yeah.
Okay.
And I just forgot how awful some of those rooms looked.
Oh, it
And
was.
how some of the people just can't even, like, they're just clips of them being like, okay, here it is. And both the husband and wife are just like, no. No.
They got booted out of their house
And
for
then
the day.
girl,
yeah.
the girl that hosts with like the little bob
yeah,
is like just so smiley, and like it's like the moment where she's being like, "Are you messing with me? You say you don't like it?" Like trying to stay in hostess, trying to stay.
Well, it's like these
for the show.
They had these random themes, Let's what can we turn
What
this
can
room
we?
into?
Yeah, just gonna hot glue feathers to this
Let's
wall.
make this a circus themed room.
Okay.
So when this family gets back, they'll walk into a circus theme. Maybe it's called $1 Million. Anyway, he takes them out with that money and finds them the house of their dreams.
That's neat.
Interesting.
Yeah,
What a specific market.
I know.
Only lottery winners.
Only lottery winners.
Oh.
Let's make a TV show out of this.
They win it's not a lottery of them getting the thing on the.
No, they won a lottery of just cash.
They just have money.
And they walk
want
up to David and said, "Here, I got $2 million to put toward a house. Would you go find me something?" And he's
Well,
like,
I'm gonna watch
I
that."
would be happy to find you something. I should have known the name of it. The word lottery's in it.
Oh, that
But
is
that's
so
fun
funny.
to watch. That's
Okay.
Lottery's something.
Any house hunting.
Yeah, that seems like it's going to be a limited run,
Right. Like how many of those people are out there?
and that want to do the show and spend them. Not that that's not a great idea for everybody, but
Yeah.
you got everybody, and also if they're all winning. I've got a lot of questions.
Theme here.
There's a
Search
theme.
that. Oh, now what everyone wants to know is who is your favorite kid? I'm kidding.
Oh,
Don't
boy,
say
yeah.
that. Don't
ask
answer
me that.
No. Just
I know
kidding.
the correct answer.
I'm definitely the most fun.
Yeah. Our
Just
family
kidding.
was normal before Joy came along. I got to say that. We were so serious. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. We had it all together. Everywhere we went, everybody was well behaved. It was just the perfect family. Boom, Joy comes along.
Shattered.
Downhill ever since.
Oh, it was, it was pretty amazing.
Does Penny remind you of me more than Ava? Or is it too much
Yeah,
of a
Penny
mix?
reminds me of you, and I would say Avery a little bit too.
Yeah.
Who does Ava remind you of?
Rhonda.
Oh.
She's kind of a blend between Rhonda and Joy. Penny's more, and Jeremy.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Let's bring in the husband. Sorry if you're listening to this, Jeremy. I love you.
He loves spoiling you.
Yeah, he does. He brings me coffee when I'm watching the babies. He goes, Risty, I brought you some coffee. I go, oh, thank you.
What do you need? What do you need?
What do you need? Yeah.
I know. I'm like, I think it's actually more work for him. I'll try to like go out of town and be like,
Yeah.
it's cool. Mom will be here. It'll be like, I'm not. It'll be like, I'm not even gone.
Yeah.
And then he ends up like going above and beyond for mom. So then it ends up being like more work.
Yeah. Yeah. I try to make it easy for him, you know.
Yes, you do.
And,
we just always know we might not be able to find some things the following week.
Do you organize?
You know,
She just she puts
yes.
things. She'll just try to like consolidate and be like, let's just get this out of eye line.
I like
Just
that.
put this away in a closet
like empty
somewhere.
boxes. So Joy will call me. She goes, Mom,
Where's the?
we can't find
can't
the
find
blah, blah,
the
blah.
lid to this
and I'm
thing.
like, don't think I don't remember doing anything with that.
Listen, if you want to come over here and put stuff away, that's like the bane of my existence.
Hey, nothing's worse than what my mom did when I was out of town.
What's that?
She's watching the kids. She did a great job with the kids. But when I got back, there was Sharpie printing on all the outsides of all my cabinets, telling me what was in there.
Like she just wrote with a Sharpie?
With the Sharpie on the
Onto the
cabinet,
cabinet?
doors, drawers.
So you can't even like change
Can't
it.
get it off. Cups, plates,
Oh, like-
silverware.
For her benefit.
I don't know.
To this day, we don't know who it was
Mom
for.
has passed on, and so I can't ask her.
How did that go? Did you address that?
I think it was just shock. You know, when we saw it, we're kind of like, both of our heads turned sideways. My husband and I looked, and our heads tipped a little, you know, kind of like a scene in a movie. You know, does this really happen?
Did they start in where they were labeled, or did she change where they were and then labeled?
Most of them were in the drawers.
Original
they were
location.
Originally in, yeah.
What location? Was this in San Antonio or
No,
New
this
York?
was Brentwood when we first moved here.
Oh, dang.
Tennessee.
Okay.
So it was a pretty nice house.
Right.
However, we did have to paint the cabinets.
kitchen cabinets.
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh.
Okay.
Look at Sarah is in shock over there. Her mouth is hanging
Well,
open.
what I'm thinking is, I'm thinking if you never talked about that, she never brought it up. She felt like it was fine, and I'm glad that she like evolved through some guilt. Maybe she didn't feel guilty, and that's good.
I don't know. I really don't remember if we said anything to her.
Yeah.
I'm sure we said something. Yeah, I can't imagine us just being silent about it. But it was a long time ago. So
Yeah.
That's really fun.
That's amazing.
did a great job with the kids, though.
Yeah.
They were all alive.
That's the point.
Got back.
Well, Mama, I love you.
Love you too, Joy. Thank
Thanks
you
for being here.
Thank you guys for having me.
You can follow Risty's art business with her husband, Jerry, at jdwise.art. And you can learn more about their business there. We have an original in our foyer. We love it so much.
That is true.
And our website, you can buy originals as well as prints of any of these.
At jdwiseart.com. You can follow us at Momcult Podcast. You can listen at themomcult.com or anywhere you get your podcasts. And please rate us and leave us a review on iTunes so someone notices and then we can make some money maybe from this. That would be cool.
That would be cool.
There you go.
We have officially reached over 500 followers, so that's exciting.
Hey, that's a big deal. Thanks. Hey, you know what? Thank you
you.
for following us. Thanks. We genuinely, really, that means a lot. If anybody ever says this is funny or whatever, because I am still seeking
on your
external
confidence.
validation,
Yeah, yeah.
but soon I'm not going to give a shit what you think.
So soon.
sorry, Risty.
No problem.
Excuse my language.
I'm 71. Hamlet.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's
Thank you.
Day.
Same to you, girls.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. This was fun.
Sarah, love you too, sweetie.
Love you. Thank you.